lie to you, I actually don't like this hairstyle. Look at this styling! Extra succulent. Okay. Everybody, put on your seats and belts. I'm gonna take you on a journey.
Hi and welcome back to the Estrella Show. As you can tell, I'm tired of doing this intro thing, man. Anyways, it's a long episode, so let's just get on with the thing. Enjoy.
Hi and welcome back to the Estrella Show. I'm Estrella. If you're new and you want to be an Estrellita, it's not that hard. First of all, you subscribe down there and hit the bell. Ding ding. And then you can add the Snapchat. Then you follow the Twitter. Then you follow the Instagram. I'm most active on Twitter. There's still time to join, but my first 100 subs. Shout out to Celia. She's about 100 subscribers. The rest of you are less important, but still important. So in today's episode, this is the first episode of A&R. If you have not watched the pilot, watch it. I'm going to put the link here to understand what I mean by A&R and what series is going to mean for the Estrella Show. Season 1 of A&R, generating genres. I feel like this is the best place to start. I'm just going to go through each individual genre, explain evolution. So let's start with rhythm and blues, otherwise known as R&B. And it originated in the 1940s. It's basically the white man definition of urban African Americans. Wait, why do they get to define what that is? My manager said that doing this thing would be good, but ban this, because I'm angry now. We're gonna have to unpack that. Music is an art form. Yes, it is natural that there will be types. Each type would have a characteristic in which all the bodies of work within that type have similar characteristics. What I find difficult about this genre thing, that's why I just started there. Art is supposed to push boundaries. It's supposed to do something. You do like you do a painting, and it's supposed to like make you think. They don't draw a box here in black and you look at that and then you say, yeah, that's a black box. They drew the black box because it signifies the labels in which the black community put themselves. And because the black box was not filled in, it shows that the black community is ignorant because they have this nice exterior of a label that looks kind of nice and simplistic, when inside there isn't nothing but white, because that signifies the fact that the black community does not know their identity and are basing it in a self-absorbed idea that we must be black, but we paint ourselves as black on the outside to make ourselves feel better about ourselves because of the ongoing discrimination gone against us over centuries. Like, one person who sees something chooses that to be the bar or chooses that to be the definition of that type of music. This can be based on a variety of things, the economic and social context of, for example, when we're talking about blues, we're talking about like, you know, in the plantations and them and there. It can also be about vocal delivery, the instruments that are typically used, the rhythm that is typically used. These are all factors in which someone looks at and says, okay, so I've seen that was the beginning of something, so that must be the definition of R&B. All the other people who did the same are followers of that genre, but for me it demonstrates a sheep mentality. Someone makes a piece, everybody likes it, everybody else sings it. Someone else who wants to be like them will create their own like replica, but their own replica of a similar style done their way with probably different lyrics, a different topic of discussion in the song, and then just different voices, etc, etc. That's what develops a genre. No problem with that. Music is great, we love it. It makes life easier for the theory. Music involves people. People are not controlled variables. Therefore, each individual person has a different interaction with life, has a different voice, has a different preference when it comes to instruments. I feel like it's not fair for us to say that R&B is this and everybody should do this. Humans are fickle. I want to say humans are fickle. Like, we change. We don't always do the same thing. We grow up. We literally change in the way that we look. I don't think that having such a definition that came from one idea, because the idea is that one person did something, therefore this must be the defining genre, therefore this is what is traditional R&B, this is what is traditional rock and roll, traditional hip hop, and that just kind of defeats the aim, because art is supposed to push boundaries, art is supposed to evolve, innovate, it's supposed to change, transform into something different. It's not supposed to be the same as its origins. Does that make sense? There wouldn't be that much interest because everybody would be doing the same thing. I feel like with music, you'll just be remixing, you'll be doing stuff in a similar way but backwards. The rhythm, you start using samples of original ones and it'll start sounding the same. So that's why I believe that genres, having a firm definition of a genre is really kind of like defeats the purpose of music. So let's take alternative R&B. So this is like, I don't want to say this is a subgenre, but it's a subgenre. It's the rebirth of R&B at the turn of the last decade. So when I say this, I mean the likes of Odd Future in terms of Sid, talking about Nostalgia Ultra from Frank Ocean, Channel Orange. We're talking about Miguel, like Kaleidoscope Dream, the one where he's bored. Let's play a little game. FKA Twigs as well. And the issue with calling something alternative R&B is that what does it mean to be normal R&B? Are you seeing my point? As the fader noted, I'm paraphrasing here because I didn't write it properly, but as the fader noted, to add such a prefix at the front of a genre is to say that original or the traditional genre is not intellectual, is not pushing boundaries, it's not experimental, because there is an alternative to this original genre. And therefore it brings the question of, why do we give this original genre such praise? Why is this genre worthy if there's another version of it that's pushing more boundaries? Art is supposed to like challenge your thinking, it's supposed to surprise you, interest you. I want you to like look for more, want you to look again, want you to listen again. To say this, it kind of casts a side eye. Like you look at R&B and you're like, sis, look at your age mate, even though they're both good, but one is just doing better in the eyes of it being alternative. And I don't think this is right. Like, let me just give you some examples. So let's talk about the white man in hip-hop. For more Caucasian hip-hop is not native to their race, so technically it's to say that it's not really yours. That's what a lot of black artists kind of feel about white artists. A lot of people struggle or refuse to put someone like Eminem in their top 5 rappers because he's white. Are you starting to see the issue here? Because Eminem is very talented. Like, I know he does a lot of horrorcore, very violent, graphic. He does it better than your favorite rapper, so what's the issue? The N-word isn't really something that black community believe the white man is able to say, and therefore automatically casts Eminem out of the hip-hop like community, and therefore it limits his ability to relate to people who are black and listen to hip-hop. So when it comes to stuff like this, is like, because of this rigid definition that, oh, hip-hop is supposed to be a black artist, which is typically male, talks about some sort of struggle, some sort of racial struggle, a rags to riches story, or a misogynistic story about women and the amount of women you can get, or a materialistic story about how much money you have, just bravado and braggadocio, characteristics that people have embedded in the definition of hip-hop. So when you have Eminem, who technically is someone who is pushing the boundaries, experimenting, and is intellectual in his art form of music, for people who have this like rigid belief that music has genres and they must be followed, it's hard for newer artists to be accepted by these sorts of people, because it's like, you're not doing what the definition of genre is. Who told you what hip-hop was? The eyes of the superpower in the social hierarchy, they saw hip-hop and said, okay, this is for black people who talk about money, drugs and women and what they do to women. And they used that definition and they applied it, and then you self-absorbed it. So when you see someone who's not doing what the white man told you were doing, now there's an issue. Are you seeing my point here? It's like the complex that you don't like, you've absorbed and you're applying. That this is our genre. Like, let us have our space to talk about our racial struggle and to use our N-word, because it's ours and we're empowering it. We do it best, whatever we means to them. Anybody who tries to enter our space cannot be respected, because that literally limits the ability of the musical genre to progress. Like, it's that same power structure. Before it was white man has dominion over you, because you've been empowered by such a struggle that you have overcome, which is great. It's beautiful. We like the music that comes from it, but now you feel empowered. So any other, when I say alternative, any other person that doesn't share this view that the Caucasian race is better than the African American race, whatever that means to you, and someone of the Caucasian race that doesn't agree with this comes into the game and wants to come appreciate and push their pen and push the rap game forward, because they're not us, they're them, and because of that, they can't be involved. Music is political and music is social. The politics and the social order of life gets in the way of the musical development of whatever a genre is to you, and I find that really heartbreaking. What is hip-hop to you? It's like Kendrick said in Hood Politic, people miss when hip-hop was rapping, but if you missed that, then Killer Mike will be popping. Do you know who Killer Mike is? Why do we have to stick to traditions? If you wanted that much, you'll be listening to these sorts of people. You'll be listening to the Wales and the Killer Mikes of the world. You'll be listening to the J Electronicas of the world. You're not. You're listening to Migos and you're listening to Future and you're listening to Young Thug. I'm not dissing them because I listen to them too. But are you starting to see my thought process here? When it comes to music, it's actually great to break the rules, because when you break the rules, you discover yourself and you stay true to yourself, and that's when we get the good music. Like, why are we doing labels anyway? Look at Beyonce. What genre does Beyonce do? Ask yourself. Does she do pop? Does she do R&B? Does she do rap? Does she do country? I hope you've listened to Sandcastles, because that's basically country. Does she do reggae? Does she do reggaeton? Because I'm pretty sure she did Mi Gente. Beyonce is a genre. Whether you think she's overrated or not, what Beyonce does is what I believe music should be. You have to know who you are as a person, as an artist. When you're listening to artists, you will start to see through their discography, there is what is quintessentially this artist. What is quintessential Drake? What is quintessential Katy Perry? That is their artistry. Find what you do best. Perfect what you do best. Then apply such formula and push the boundaries in different ways, using different productions, different beats, different formats, different rhythms, different concepts, like album concepts. I'm just enjoying the music like we're tired. More often than not, the people who think music is dead is the people that believe in rigid genre definitions. If you believe that 90s hip-hop is what hip-hop should be, then obviously you will not be impressed by the likes of Youngboy. You will not be impressed by the likes of as a 6ix9ine, because it's not the same. It's a development. It's a difference. It is pushing the boundaries, but it's not what your boundaries are. So then now you don't like it. That's why some K-pop groups are really doing their thing. This is why BTS is blowing up. What pop once was the Katy Perry, the Taylor, the I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. I want your loving, I want your romance. And we don't do that no more. More house influence or more EDM influence as shown by Dua Lipa, or it's more like, it's a little bit more like trappy, hip-hoppy. Like, for example, Dark Horse and Katy Perry and Juicy J, that's a clear example. So for the UK in particular, just enjoy the music, man. Don't let the economics, the politics and the fame limit your freedom of expression when it comes to music. As me and my good friend Effie, I hope you subscribe to our channel. Me and my good friend Effie have said and discussed, there's plenty of great talent in the UK. Don't ever think that because the UK is a smaller and colder island than the US that it cannot produce great artists, because it can. But because of such rigid beliefs within the UK music industry, I'm talking about the artists, the listeners, as well as the labels, that there's this genre that we have to pertain to that is set by the standard in the US, and that's what's making money, and therefore we push everybody in the game to act like this to make money. That's wrong. Once you find who you are as an artist, you do it well, you perfect it, and you push boundaries, people will push you regardless. I don't care if it doesn't sound like what R&B is supposed to be. I don't care if it doesn't sound like what grime is supposed to be. If it's you as an artist and you're doing it well, and I can appreciate you doing it well, then I'm gonna bloody enjoy it. All right, this is why comparisons don't work as well, because the genre is not the same. We're just talking about technicalities. If we're talking about lyricism, flow, vocal ability and production, it's very easy to compare. I can't just compare Beyonce to Whitney Houston. But these patterns and these technicalities, I will be doing that on the Estrella Show. We will sit down, we'll do it together. We'll do it in season 2. We're not going to do it now, but we'll do it in season 2. I hope you guys have enjoyed my shouting at you about music. I definitely had a different sort of series planned in my head when I started recording. You saw that, obviously. The next few episodes, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about said genres that I was supposed to analyse. And we're just going to talk about where it is now, where it once was, who are the key players, who were the key players, and what is the future, what is it going to look like, what's going to change. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode small. This is for my music heads out there. Don't stress, stay blessed. Too anointed to be disappointed. This is live! Hi guys, a lot of people have been asking me how I maintain a size 2 and how I keep my skin so clear, and I just want to introduce you to I don't know if you can see, I just wanted to introduce you to flat tummy tea. You know, I drink it 3 times each minute, and I promise you it tastes sweet like sugar, and it just helps me so much. And I was like, baby, 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 ah, don't you know it's being mine. When I was 13, I bought my first book. Listen, yeah, it's not every day lovey, kiss. You said I've had my first love. Who cares? Why do you care if I've had my first love, or having, or have done, or do have, like, hasn't, has, what is that? It's that my love life is not your concern. It's only your concern when wedding 2028 comes, yeah, and then at the altar you see my flipping guy not crying. I've made like a pact in my head that, like, at the altar it's actually a thing where, so I get to the top here, see my guy, it can be glassy eyes, it can be a quick sniff ting, and then we spud. That's it. Oh, what's the time to be alive? Baby, are you down? Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm tired. I feel hot and bothered. Bye now. You can go. It's fine. You can actually go now. We're tired of you. We are tired of you weirdos that watch it to the end. Estrella mugs coming to stores near you in 2021, because we cannot ship it out right now because coronavirus is very, very real. I hope you guys are well. Stay blessed. Don't stress. Still keep drinking water and vitamin C and drinking pineapple skin. Okay, bye.